Hey, welcome back to DC Tuesday on a Saturday, or a Friday night in America. Anyway, as you can hear behind me, I don't know if the mic's picking it up, but right across the street we got some semi-major excavation going on. So it's gonna probably ruin the sound quality of what I wanted to do with the tune-up of the car. So hopefully they wrap it up today and I can do that tomorrow. So today I think I'm gonna just time lapse it. I'm gonna tear apart the brakes on the rear, see if they appear to be rebuildable or if they come apart okay. Well, here's where I stalled out on the brake removal of this side. The piston seems like it's moving, like I could just use a screwdriver to turn it. These sliders is what I was also really worried about, and they are moving really free. So that really is reassuring there. I can't get the lower bolt of the caliper bracket to come free right now, so that is what it is. And then if I take that off, I can get the rotor off. This has enough thickness to where it seems like I could turn it, just to do it as cheap as possible. But if this is all moving, at least I can rebuild the caliper with new seals and dust boot here, and it's gonna be as fresh as it can get. Okay, this is new to me, but apparently these screws hold the rotor onto the hub, and Google says they like to strip out and they're a real pain in the butt. I no longer have the e-brake hooked up to the caliper, so I can't pull the e-brake to set the rotor and give me something to work against. So I'm gonna try. I've got my Amazon screwdrivers here, and they have a hex head on one end so you can get some leverage on them, and this is a 13 mil on this side, so I've got my impact with a 13 mil socket. I'm going to try and just hold pressure as much as I can against it and just pop it, and we'll see if this works or not. You'll witness it first. Oh baby, there you go. So round two. Yeah, there you go. When I bought these, I was like, oh, that'd be cool to have. I'll pay the extra like 500 yen or whatever it was for this type in this set. Man, that's a win. But now what do I do? Obviously the caliper bracket has to come off, but I thought that was gonna release everything. All right, to be determined on that. I'm gonna put some lube around the lug holes just in case. There. To be continued, but I feel like that was a huge win in itself, so. All right, on the passenger side or the left side where it's very apparent that the brake caliper was not functioning at all, the caliper bracket itself, the sliders are seized up for both of them, and I couldn't spin them at all with a wrench on the whatever the head part up here. It would not turn at all, so I just got a bunch of lube sprayed down in there to see if I hopefully can get it apart later and kind of sand down the shafts, re-lube everything, and hopefully it'll be moving again. I'm not sure if that's savable, if those are available from Honda, or if I have to source like a used caliper and then steal the bracket and stuff from it. The caliper itself, the piston spun back into place pretty darn easy. No problems there. Once again, I think breaking it apart and just rebuilding them for peace of mind would be nice. But the next challenge is trying to get this rotor off, and I don't know if it's going to take like a good whack with the hammer just to jar it free of the hub surface, or if I have to thread some bolts into there on both sides and then push pry it off. These holes go way in there, so all the way up to my finger, which makes me think you don't put a bolt on those to push off this rotor. New day, beautiful day. I think this is gonna be like a top 10 day, so we're gonna get after it, see what we can get done. But let's start with an easy win. Here we go, check this out. I bought this new OEM Honda washer cap, and this was from Yahoo. Apparently this should probably still be available from Honda, and I bought this a while back and I didn't realize how much stuff was actually available. So this situation here is gonna get fixed, and I don't have to worry about pieces of stuff falling down in there. Boom, there we go. Start the day with a win. That looks too good for the bay. And it looks like we didn't lose any pieces down inside of it. So next up, I want to see if I can get the caliper bracket on this side unfrozen. Alright, so I've got those soaking, and then hopefully they'll break up a little bit, and then this afternoon they'll break free with some more working on them. They're loose a little bit, so hopefully they'll break free and they're salvageable. I've got the brake repair parts on the way. I got to rebuild kits for the front and rear, plus new pads and rotors for everything, so we'll be fresh there. I'm still debating about lines. I should do lines, I just haven't ordered them yet. So next, I guess let's get on to the engine bay and do some tune-up stuff. So that was 100% of the old stuff. I put the old air filter back in there just to revert it back to how it was, so I'd have like a baseline, because the other day when I was driving it had like a little stutter of like a when I was, you know, touching the gas a little bit. So I've got a full tune-up of stuff, so I figured I'd kind of change it piece by piece and see if it changes at all. Here's the parts we got to work with. So here is our tune-up in a box. There's our air filter from the other day we put in, and then we have our NGK spark plug wires. OEM Honda is discontinued, and then we have some NGK V-Power 6 range, just some coppers, and all of this came from Monotaro, the website in the last video I explained, so go back and check that out. And then we have OEM rotor and an OEM distributor cap and an OEM fuel filter, and these were either not available on Monotaro in like an aftermarket equivalent, or they were just cheaper or nearly the same price, so I went OEM. The one thing to note is Monotaro does sell OEM Honda parts, which is handy, but the Monotaro price is more expensive than the dealership price, including tax. So it's almost as if Monotaro is buying it from the dealership, including the tax amount, and then adding a couple hundred yen to make a little bit of profit and then reselling it. All right, so let's get these in and see what kind of change it makes. I'm really excited to see what that fuel filter does, because that no doubt is terrible. Well, I figured out why the taillights were disconnected the other day. Car's off, lights off. That light's on. I'm gonna pop this back panel and get that disconnected. It's hard to see, but that bulb is hotter than Hades, man. It was melting, maybe like the taillight gasket or something, but holy cow, it was like smoking when I disconnected it. So glad I caught that. So a little difference of this rotor and I guess others I've worked on in the past, there's a little set screw. I'm glad I looked at the new one to see how it went on there, because it was initially like this and I was like, it's not coming off, but there's a set screw that keeps it in place. And I just bumped the starter a couple times to get it to rotate, and it rotates really slow. So like a couple bumps and now it's lined up like this, and I think I can get a screwdriver in through here between the wire and the rotor there. A little new rotor versus old rotor comparison. You can see the old one is like scorched or rusty for like half of the what is that, like an electrode, and then the new one is just shiny and clean. So that I think is gonna do wonders in itself for better spark. And the new cap comes with a new O-ring. The old one is pretty smashed, but actually once I pulled it out, it seems half okay. But so you could reuse that if you had to, but you got a new one with the new one. And just like you'd expect on the cap, there's like heavy corrosion on the old what is this, electrodes, terminals, and then the shiny new ones. But yeah, shiny new cap, that is really nice. I think that's gonna make a nice spark party going on inside there. The old one, yeah, crusty electrodes. Alright, seems like it's getting a little crispier. I was thinking I would record the revs like each time from the front and then the back, but I was like, oh, the more I do it, I'm like, man, I'm kind of nervous my neighbor's gonna come out and get mad at me, because he just got mad at the trash truck the other day for taking his trash away too noisily. I don't know. He was irate though, so I was like, well, maybe I'll just play it safe and just do a little bit each time. So moving along, spark plugs are next, and it's not a downside. The only thing I'm not so stoked on is they're blue. And that's fine. That was literally the only option they had for this particular model. And these were still like $60. And then there's like some, high performance aftermarket ones for like $150. I just didn't find like a cheap black OEM option, and I trust NGK, so I wanted to go with a decent brand. So anyway, blue's what it's gonna be. Alright, yet again, it seems like it's just a little bit more responsive. I don't know, maybe I'm dreaming. It's placebo effect. Anyway, last piece of the puzzle is the OEM fuel filter. And the stinkiest one. Interestingly, OEM Honda, it says made in Korea. So I'm not sure who their supplier is for that. I just thought that was interesting, as most everything else is made in Japan. So let's get this in there. If someone can chime in and tell me I'm missing something here, but the fuel filter came with 2 large crush washers because there's a banjo on top, so that makes sense. But then it's got this smaller guy, and the bottom is a flare fitting, so it doesn't need any sort of washer, and I can't see it being placed anywhere, so I have no idea what this washer is for. If someone knows, let me know. I'll just hang on to it, but I'm gonna try putting it in with just these 2, and then hopefully that's good enough. Alright, tune-up is done. I don't know if I noticed a difference. It's surprising that it was running seemingly so good on such crap plugs, fuel filter, air filter, old wires, like cap and rotor. I don't know, it sounds nearly the same, it kind of reacts the same. Of course, I'm not like wrapping it all the way out. You know, I only blipped it up to like 2500. I just tried to keep my foot pressure the same for each one, but yeah, I don't I don't know. I'm sure it's much happier and healthier. Let's check out the old fuel filter and see if we get any really nasty fuel pouring out of there. Oh yeah, there we go. Fuel filter. Yeah, the fuel filter definitely was the last resort in protecting the engine. That thing, yeah, woo, good to change that out. That's some nastiness coming out of there. This is the, you know, the entry side or whatever of the fuel filter, and this would be the side that goes to the engine. So a little discolored, but the filter is definitely stopping the chunks. Look at that. That's pretty cool. So good job, filter. So yeah, there's the overall engine bay. Looks nearly the same. Of course, more cleanup and the timing belt stuff is coming. This was just like the, you know, the first half, the tune-up stuff. And I need to Google this wire routing just to get it to lay better. When I have the cover on there, it's gonna be up to here, so you're only gonna see that little bit, so it'll just be like a little splash of color. I feel better about having a trusted brand than some unknown brand that's black. Like, I've been kind of going through my IG buddies, I guess real life buddies too, of who has a clean Honda, and Spoon_EM1 AJ, he's got, you know, blacked out valve cover, he's got some blue wires. That's kind of on par with what I'm shooting for. Of course, his car's immaculate, but seeing how good his looks, you know, makes me feel good about how this will look too. So yeah, it looks like we did nothing more or less. Luckily the plug wires are blue, and they do add a little visual difference, but otherwise, sorry, that's not visually exciting. Yeah, so we'll wrap it up on the bay there for now. I feel good about like the tune-up stuff being up to snuff. Everything was way overdue, so good stuff there. I'm just gonna go back to the rear brake now and see if I can get that caliper free. So that seal, that little dust boot, was I think stopping all of my penetrating oil from getting down in there, because it was really wedged in there, as it should be, which is great, but it seems like it's still quite dry in there. So little bubbles coming up as it reacts and goes down in there. Well, I guess I just gotta wait some more on this guy and then come back and pry on it some more, and hopefully it'll break free. So to be continued again. All right, here we are again. Ooh la lolly. Boom. Got one out. This was the one that was moving better earlier. Good job penetrating lube. Boom. So there you have it. Got them both out now. Looks like the penetrating oil was just making its way down there finally, so it still needs some cleaning up. Yeah, quick little spray. That should clean up pretty good, I think. These guys down in here, I'm gonna blast them out as well. I need some sort of curly Q wire brush. So a bit pitted up and such, but that is gonna clean up, and I'm gonna make that work. Those babies. Those are gonna live to slide another day. I need to figure out something to clean that out in there. Alright, so that wraps it up for about everything I wanted to accomplish today. I feel good about the progress. I just wanted to update on the channel a little bit. Like, my goal is to make, you know, Japan content, not just do DC2 Honda content. I've been trying to hit 2 uploads a week, and I've been trying to keep the Saturday video or Friday night video something that was more just like event video or not my own personal car. But here we are, we're at the end of the Japanese school year, beginning of the new year, so it's just a super busy time here, especially with kids. Like, my daughter's starting 1st grade, so we're doing a bunch of like back to school shopping or continuing school shopping, whatever you want to think about it as. So time here is just a little extra busy, and then the car just keeps getting closer and closer, so I just really need to like hammer down with the time I have and focus on getting it ready versus, you know, trying to attend events, spend time doing that, and then spend money doing that, because each event I go to, it's probably like $150 to $300 depending on the location when you factor in tolls, gas, and admission, and then, like I said, the time involved as well. So if I can just, you know, focus all those resources and like time and money on getting this thing done, then this thing is going to be in a good state so I can continue on with everything else. So yeah, that's kind of the state of things here, just doing a little bit of life stuff. And I mean, technically I missed a few events because we all got, you know, the C word you're not supposed to say on YouTube. My family got it. I did not. So we were kind of sidelined for a couple weeks with that as well. So I missed a few events, which would have kind of given me some Saturday upload fodder. Anyway, that's the state of things around here. Just wanted to let you guys know, like, if you're here for the Japan content, like, that's happening. That's going to happen. Just, we're at, you know, a busy month basically. So there you go. There's the update. Hope you all are well out there. We'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, much love. Be well.